Join us, lifelong friends and psychotherapists Sarah and Emma, on the Unknot Your Future Self podcast, where we talk all things personal development, psychology and wellbeing.
Journey with us as we compassionately and humbly share some of life's brutal truths and show you how to use your challenging experiences to grow and show up as the best version of yourself.
With a healthy dose of humour and unapologetic profanity, you will love this down-to-earth, psychologically informed labour of love.
As no-nonsense, real talk therapists, we are relatable and honest, but perhaps more importantly, knowledgeable in our field, both academically and experientially. So you not only learn from our personal experiences, but the past decades of work with our clients.
Get ready for this unique, one-of-a-kind duo who will make you feel heard. That's us, if you didn't realise. Ground you and give you the motivation to transform yourselves like never before. This podcast was sponsored by the Woodlands Cattery in Rufford, the northwest of England. It's a hotel for cats, so that you can be rest assured that when you go on holiday, your cats are safe and feeling pampered and well looked after. It's quite well known that for a lot of people, animals are very therapeutic and can help with anxiety and depression. And with that, the sanctuary also has a range of charitable organisations and events that occur throughout the year, which help people connect with nature and animals. So check them out, Woodlands Cattery in Rufford and the Woodlands Animal Sanctuary. So today, Sarah, on the podcast, we're going to talk about hitting rock bottom, and the differences for how that's different for lots of people, and taking our masks off and being authentic in the world.
Yes. Looking at how we show up in the world. And as always, I can't wait.
Good. So I guess let's start with why is this important for us to do it, I guess? Why is this important for you?
You know, I feel that in the world today there's so much disconnect. There's so many people living in their own head internally and masking and living life in a way that's just contributing to the downfall of their well-being. And I want to connect more. I want people to connect more with themselves and others. And I want them to do it in a way where they're building up their resilience, self-care, self-love, and doing it in a way where it improves their lives and it makes them feel more whole as a human being. I think I want people to feel more fully functioning.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I'm a coach and a therapist, and one of the things that I found, I don't know about you, but people are coming to me and therapy's not always effective, and things that are ordinarily things that people would access and do don't seem to be working anymore, and it feels like people need something different. So I'm getting quite kind of frustrated with some of these things and wanting people to have access to the different ways in which we can help ourselves emotionally and for our own well-being, really.
I agree. I think therapy is awesome because I think it's really good to be able to reflect, process, say things out loud that you've not been able to say before in a safe space where there's no judgments and you can learn about yourself and have like a trained listener who can kind of help you go deeper. I think that's wonderful. But I think sometimes it can be lengthy and it can be costly because a lot of services out there at the moment have got waiting lists as long as your arm, haven't they? And I think what people want from what I'm gathering at the moment is something a little bit more quicker, a little less intrusive.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be as scary as the way therapy sounds, and there are other methods and are other interventions that you can use. And I think it's really important to address that. And I also want to make the journey of well-being and taking care of yourself and self-empowerment, self-care, self-love, I want to make it more interesting and more fun because people avoid it because they think it's... And there are going to...
There she is. She's coming out. She's coming into her own.
There we go. People avoid it. They avoid facing it. They avoid doing things because it's scary to them. And actually, like, it doesn't have to be that way, you know what I mean? So,
and
yeah.
I think that you're right. I think, a lot of people are going into crisis and then they're going to their GPs, they're getting put on waiting lists. And actually, by the time they get to services anyway, crisis over. I mean, and then people are just coping so they then don't go and get the support. But actually, as you know, well, we've seen this time and time again in our own experiences, which we'll talk about in a sec, is that, it just comes back and bites you on the arse at a later date, doesn't it? So you get through the crisis and actually there's no kind of deep transformational change in getting through a crisis, because actually a lot of that stuff just comes back up, doesn't it?
Yes. You get through a crisis and all you learn to do is cope.
Yeah, you do, and put a plaster on it often.
Yes, and then those coping strategies don't serve a purpose anymore and you're back at square one, repeating the same cycles. And also when you mention GPs, a lot of them, to my knowledge, aren't trained as much on mental health, and you can't always throw medication at it, although each to their own, no judgment there, I'm not a GP. But I think it's really important to know that it's, if you are on medication, that's completely fine, but that doesn't have to be your life forever.
Yeah,
you know what I
and
mean?
medication serves a purpose, doesn't it? It gets your head above the parapet so that you can cope with stuff, but it's then looking at the deeper level stuff. Now, I want to talk about, if it's okay with you, what sort of experience have you had? Because it's okay us sitting here. We sound great, don't we? And we're all like, our life is sorted out, which is totally not true, by the way. I remember my sister-in-law saying, you counsellors are all fucked up. And I think she's probably right. We're just more aware of it, I would say. Tell people what's your experience of mental health and how have you struggled over the years?
Oh my God, how long have we got?
45 minutes.
My gosh. Well, I would definitely say... I don't know where to begin, but what I will say is I'll start from where my self-care journey began and when my rock bottom moment in life, even though you have lots along the way, but I would say the pinnacle moment where I was like, oh, sink or swim here, was when I was 21 and my brother had died when I was 18 and grew up as a young carer, and I was the eldest of 4 siblings. And I'm kind of like a bit of a fixer. I kind of like to rest. Well, not as much now, but I like to rescue people. So I was always used to putting people before myself. And I went through quite a few heavy experiences, as you can imagine. And there was this one day where I was already having panic attacks, weren't good. And there was this one day where I'd moved out and I'd lived with a boyfriend at the time, which was... delightful at the height of sarcasm. Lovely. And
where is he now? Not here.
And it weren't great. And I woke up one morning and I thought, oh my gosh, I think I'm dying. I had chest pains. My body wouldn't move very well. I had to roll out the bed, army crawl to the phone because I had no credit on my phone, on my mobile. And I remember those days, credit and that. And I called my dad and I was like, Dad, come and get me. So my dad, 5'7" Al, don't know how I'm 5'11". I know, big bad Al, had to throw me over his shoulder and get me out and took me to the doctor.
Wow.
And because every breath I took, I would have like a sharp pain in my chest and stuff, and my limbs just weren't doing what I needed them to do. And the GP said to me, Dad, don't let her out your sight. She's not great right now. Get her support as soon as possible. And that was the day I couldn't keep my mask on any longer.
Yeah.
So I went and got support and I went to counselling. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm sure she's like a mind reader. She can see into my soul. And it was what I was experiencing it was the first time I'd ever took my mask off.
Yeah.
And showed someone what I was really feeling.
Yeah.
So I'd say the age of 21 was my changing moment.
Yeah.
And from then on I thought, I need to build myself up a bit. But wow, I want to help people the way she's just helped me.
Wow. And I feel like listening to you, because obviously I know this story and I always get goosebumps listening to it because I just cannot imagine the Sarah that I know being pulled out of the bed, especially by little Alan, big Al, as you say. But always what resonates and makes it kind of really fascinating to me is that, and that my journey itself was very, very different. That I was always a workaholic. So, doing 50, 60 hours a week, I would plough myself into into work. And I guess I set up this with an organisation. I was part of setting up a huge counselling service, and it was brilliant. And we one day I was just sat at the desk, and we have to use outcome measures, where you measure depression or anxiety, and every client has to fill them in. And I'm putting them out for the therapist to be able to use. So I just thought, I'll have a little read of one of these. So I filled in one, which was the depression one, and I filled in the other one, which was an anxiety one. And I was like, oh, fuck. Looks like I'm a bit depressed with some lingering anxiety as well. And honestly, it was like eye-opening, because I was like, no. And, just what you're saying, the complete opposite. You're there having to be pulled out the bed. I'm there having to kind of regulate and slow down. And all of a sudden, that rock bottom was there, and I just wasn't expecting it. And now, I don't know what you're like, but I look back at my life and I can see periods of time where I recognise now that it wasn't great, or that I've had periods of depression or periods of high anxiety or struggles that I just didn't know at the time.
And you use we would say dissociation, but you use that ability to disconnect from your feelings in order to keep going, don't you? You know what I mean? And I think it's only until, you do your forms, which the HQ9s and stuff that you're talking about. You do your forms where you think, oh my God, it really is bad. Whereas for me, it was the moment of my body was like, get your mask off, because if you don't, I'm going to make you take it off. Boom.
Yeah, and that's where people come into my practice all the time. And I don't know if they don't come in because now we do Zoom and the landscape has changed. But when you see people, that's what we get, isn't it? Oh, I'm really anxious. I'm really depressed. I have no idea why, because I've got this amazing life. I should be grateful. I should be happy, but I'm not. And I don't know where it's come from. And I don't know about you, but, and this is the special thing about doing this job is like, I know it's come from somewhere, and I can't wait to work with that person to get to the bottom of it. And I know so many people, my sister is one of them, and other people that I know where they go, no one wants to delve into their past, and actually they don't. But that's the stuff that's coming back, and I use the term again, biting you on the arse time and time again. So it has a purpose. You do not just feel anxious. You do not just feel depressed. This can be tracked back. And why track it back? Just because once it makes sense, we can make the change, can't we?
Yes.
But I know lots of women out there who are listening to this, and men, because I've got men who come and get support from me, will be able to say there's times in their lives where they've felt that way, but not a clue why.
And the sad thing, or the harsh reality for some who don't want to go back, which is most people, you have to go back to go forward. Yeah. Because you're going to keep repeating the same patterns and the same cycles over and over again if you're not recognising what they are and why they are.
Yeah, definitely. And so in terms of kind of our journey, what's kind of got you don't do counselling, just counselling anymore. You've gone to where you do hypnotherapy and you use other alternative stuff like my favourite laughter yoga therapy, which I keep doing on people, by the way, but they're not really enjoying it because I'm not as funny as you. But like, what made you then diversify into those other things? And I guess just before you answer that, I think it's because people think counselling is like just the one thing that they can access, but the more and more we move forward, there's different things for people, isn't there?
Yes.
So what kind of made you switch from being a therapist to doing these different things?
So what I would say is when we trained, it was purely focus on the relationship and listen and, help them hear what it is you're hearing and paraphrasing and stay neutral and stay, and it was almost like don't have a personality in a way, do you know what I mean? And I used to struggle with that because I've got a big personality and I love to talk. So that was one of the things in the therapy session. I always thought, I don't feel like I'm giving enough here. I feel like I'm holding back, you know what I mean? I've got more to give. And I think on my personal journey of growth, initially, the therapy was great, and it was the first time I was able to reflect and open up and lift the lid on all of the issues that was going on inside of me. But then it got to a point where I was all talked out. Yeah. And I was a bit like, well, what now? Because I still don't feel amazing. I understand myself. Yeah. So every time I'm being a brat or I'm showing some sort of dodgy behaviour, I'm going, well, I'm doing that because of this, and this, and I know why I'm doing it. But then what? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would say that, and then also I work part-time in a children's hospice. Sorry, I'm fiddling, I'll put that down.
That's just you rubbing the page.
I must bring something sensory for me to play with next time. What was I saying? Yes, I work part-time in a children's hospice, and a lot of the time there's situations they're faced with that you cannot change. You cannot, you can't, life-altering experiences, you can't change them.
And that's people's biggest argument, isn't it? Why talk about it? Because I can't change it anyway. And that makes a lot of sense to me, and I suppose it does for you as well. But there are, it does. You can't change the situation. You can't change what's happened to you, but you can change how you then deal with it for the rest of your life, which I know from a hospice perspective, that's really deep and difficult. So I'm not suggesting that it's something people can move forward from. But yeah, at the same time, somehow we're still going to be here, aren't we?
Yes.
We still have to move through this process, even if we're on the floor.
Yes, 100%. And I think lockdown has a lot to answer for also.
Yeah.
I think the way in which we communicate with the world and each other is very different these days.
Yeah,
People are moving more towards holistic therapies and meditation and relaxation and all of these things and things that are just going to make them feel a little bit better for a moment, just to get the energy just to carry on.
I mean, how many clients come out of therapy and go, oh my fucking God, I feel worse than when I went before. And we're like, it's okay, because the research says that it's it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I mean, it just doesn't help people, does it? Because they've still got to go into that family home, live that life, deal with their partners, deal with their kids. And we're like, no, we know the process, so it's okay. And you know what? For people, it's not always okay, isn't it? And I know you advocate counselling probably a little bit more than me. But I suppose it comes back down to your personality as well. I'm very proactive. I'm very energetic. So I was finding people coming in. Session 2, I kind of thought, oh, this isn't, what you're telling me isn't like the reality of what's happening for you here. And I knew that there was just something stuck. And if we could just get it out, then we could move forward. So counselling felt very slow to me and very kind of drawn out. And but I do have to just remind you of something about our counselling training.
Go on.
And Kerry will kill me for mentioning this, but she needs to remember this, because it's very, very funny.
Kerry's our friend on the course who we also lived and loved life with.
Yeah, and Kerry, you're going to be on here, aren't you? But when we're sat in the circle and we're listening intently and you're being taught that you have to be really silent, and then all of a sudden in the background we just hear this noise. And it would be Kerry with a can of Coke, still looking intently at somebody to listen to them. And I felt like I needed to share that, because that was like one of the funniest,
moments.
Things. And I'm thinking about you as Sarah Paul, because you were a singer as well. You are a singer under that guise. And I imagine you sat there in that quietness, kind of just humming a tune in your head, thinking, I need to burst into song and dance. Was it ever like that for you? Did you ever just feel like getting up and
every day? The amount of times I would sit there going, Don't do that, Sarah. Don't do that, Sarah. Don't say that, Sarah.
I love it.
No, don't. They're talking about their emotions. That is not a song. Get it out your head. And do you know what I think as well? I suppose what we're saying here is sometimes counselling. Listen, I love it. I rate it. I rate the depth. I rate the relationship. I rate the connection. And I love it. So I'm saying therapy's great, but there are also other ways. But I think sometimes counselling can feel quite rigid, can't it? And our training was very much, you do it in a room, you make sure the room's perfect, and you make sure you're this, and you sit with them, and you're soft, and you're and I'm not soft, and I'm not gentle, and I'm loud, and I'm energetic. That's right. And I'm more than likely going to do it forward roll in a counselling session than sit there and sit still. Like, I'm not really, but you know what I mean. Like, and then there was things around. I don't know. It just didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel like. Do you know what it is? It didn't feel like real life. And I want real life.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, and you deserve real life.
Yes, I do.
And I think, in coaching practice, for example, we work with people who, yes, are still vulnerable in many ways, but actually they come knowing that they're going to kind of really be faced with all of the things that they need to be faced with, and they're going to have honest, reflective discussions, whereas counselling feels like, as if someone's really vulnerable, you're going to sit there and go, well, actually, kind of reflect back that your tone is a bit like this, or you're not reflecting back to people how they're showing up. You're just sitting and listening in that listening space, and that works, and it really does work to help people move forward. But actually, sometimes coaching, hypno, those other things, they just give people space to breathe and to do things a little bit differently, don't they?
Yes. Like I'm working, and I don't talk about clients or anything like that because it's all confidential, but I'm working with a few people at the moment who have asked for therapy and are getting therapy because we're doing all the way, we're building a relationship and stuff. But actually, I'm using like trauma interventions that I do, and I'm using hypnotherapy, and I'm so many other things that I feel are needed. So I suppose what I'm saying is, yes, therapy is great, but we need like an integrative approach to it. And I don't think that one thing suits all.
No.
So I think we've got to have so many things in our tool belt.
I think, you know, and I just want to come on to it about how people access things and access support. So I don't know if you feel this way, but you can tell me that a lot of people are really happy, and please don't think I'm judging just because I'm a bit of a tramp, but
she speaks about herself lovely, by the way.
If you seen me this morning, you would say I was a tramp.
I think she looks like a babe, but carry on.
Thank you. And I need someone to tell me that. But basically, like, I get a lot of people where they come into a conversation with me. They say, I see what you're doing. I love it. I really need some of that. I need you to help me through this. And it's great. We have a really good conversation. They want to connect. And the first thing that they then go to is then, but how much? And actually, everybody is, and I learned this just the other day, that there is something called, so we start with emotion. So the person starts with emotion, and it's a bit of a theory. They start with emotion. Oh yeah, I need it. I want it. I really want to change my life. It's all very enthusiastic. Then logic comes into it. So they say, well, how much? All of a sudden, logic comes into it, and they then ask the price, and they're like, oh, I need to think about that. I need to talk about that. And my point here is going to be that, you know, Sarah, you're from the Liverpool area. I'm not from the Liverpool area. I think regionally there's different things. But what happens is that people are quite happy to get their eyebrows done. They want to get their lashes done. They get their fake tan, their makeup, their nights out. And they're happy for that. And they're happy to have their house nice. But while we're doing all of that, actually feeling like dog shit inside, but then we can't pay for support. Do you find that? I don't know if that's a barrier to your services, but I feel that people are so much more willing to invest in their physical appearances and their lifestyle than they are their own mental health. And I think that's definitely a struggle.
100%. I think part of it is an avoidance tactic. What's the word I'm looking for? Avoidance?
Avoidance.
Just avoidance. Yeah.
Love a bit of avoidance.
Avoidance, but then equally, I think all of these things are what you can see, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think all of these things that we're talking about, i.e. the brows and the lashes, like, you get that done, you get your temporary fix of like your dopamine, which we'll talk about that in a later podcast. You get your temporary fix, you get your little pleasure, moment of pleasure, and you go, right, let's go. And then, as you say, the next day you're back to feeling like dog shit again. Yeah. Whereas doing these things are going to help you long term, and you might not always feel a benefit immediately.
Yeah.
And it gives you less of an incentive because it does require patience. Yeah. And so I think that's also a factor. I think because it isn't like an external or material thing that you can just have fixed there and then.
It's not tangible, is it? No one can show you, okay, this is how you will feel once you've done this a few times. No one can show you that. So like you say, you can put the nails on, you can put the eyelashes on, and you always look amazing and gorgeous, and I've got nothing against these things. But what I'm saying is that then if you're peeling your eyelashes off at night in front of a mirror crying your eyes out because you feel like your life is shit and that you've got, you know, there's nothing going on for you that you want, then actually no, we have to think about these things. But yeah, how do you, when we talk to people about coaching, therapy, hypno, laughter yoga, it's all a concept, isn't it? And you're asking people to think outside of that and go, and so I think that's the difficult part. Whereas actually if you could show people how actually they could feel better from some of these things, I think it'd be more tangible, wouldn't it? But there isn't 100%. A way to show tangibility about emotions and feelings. You've just got to go through the process and feel that way.
I agree. You've got to love yourself from the inside out. So I'm not going to fake life with my eyelashes on anymore or my brows if I'm not doing the work on the inside.
You have got good brows though.
Oh, thanks.
They're best brows.
Don't look too close because they've not been waxed for a while. But we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think you've got to be able to give yourself a hug from the inside out first, because did you like that?
No.
She's got a cold heart.
I've got a swinging
she
brook.
wants you to feel better, but she's lying. She doesn't. So I'm joking. No, I think you have. You've got to be able to. Again, that's a mask, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you're masking your life.
As you're talking,
Go on.
sorry, we learn how to not interrupt each other in counselling training, but we love a good interruption. But as you're talking, what I'm thinking is things like the physical things and the material things. It sounds a bit like the medication discussions that we have, doesn't it? Where it's a short-term fix for a long-term, deeper problem. Yeah. And actually, yes, it does make you feel better in the moment, which is what you're saying. But actually, yeah, that's a bit like medication, isn't it? And I'm not anti-medication. I think you absolutely should consult proper professionals when you're talking about medication and stuff. But at the same time, I think there's this weird expectation that people think, I'll take a pill, I'll take something and I'll feel better. And actually you do sometimes feel a bit better, but then the problems and the issues are still there. And I want to say to you, Sarah, you know this as well as I do. I mean, there's been times in my life where I have had no money, and mainly because I've been terrible at managing money and it's been a bit of my own doing. But just as an example, if you're worrying about debt and you've got people knocking on your door, or you've got no money and you're having to kind of like borrow things, then, you know, you're going to feel like dog shit. You're going to feel anxious and you're going to feel depressed sometimes because that doesn't feel comfortable. Now, when we look at all of the areas of your life, which there's like 7 or 8, if we use the 8 Fs, for example, if you've got a couple of areas where you're lacking in those things because actually they're difficult, or you're struggling with housing and you're going to be evicted, then, you know, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, how are you going to feel? How do you expect to feel good?
If your basic needs aren't being met.
That's right.
A set of eyelashes aren't going to make you feel better.
No, and actually that's where I should agree with your hug, shouldn't I? Because physical contact actually is part of what helps people feel connected, isn't it?
It does, yeah. And for those who aren't sure about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, get on it.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Awesome.
A really good triangle. I think if you put it on your fridge and you say every day, this is why I feel like dog shit, because these things are missing from my life.
Are my basic needs being met today?
That's right.
Love,
That's
shelter,
right.
warmth, relationships,
Yeah.
all of these things. Because ultimately, if our basic safety needs aren't being met, we are not going to have the energy to go and live our best life.
No.
And the thing is, like when I say about loving yourself from the inside out and lashes and brows and that, listen, I love getting my lashes done. I love getting my brows done. I always get my nails done. But equally, that's because I'm a lazy cow. Because in the morning, I don't want to get up and brush my hair, and I don't want to get up and put makeup on because I can't be bothered.
No.
And I get a quick wash and what have you, and boom, I'm off the house. Like, I'm looking in the cupboards for the things that I have to iron the least.
That quick wash just kind of made me, I don't want to think about you having a quick wash.
It's not a wet whitewash, it's a proper one.
It didn't sit with me quite right, and I'm looking deep into your eyes right now and thinking, I don't want to imagine that. And
It's not a pretty sight. It probably was about 20 years ago. But now I'm happy I'm happy sitting here with my layers on.
Yeah, and covering up the udders.
Exactly. The empty udders.
They're pretty empty right now, aren't they? So tell me then, I guess, what advice would you give people then? So people are going to be listening to this thinking, great, and probably, hopefully having a bit of a laugh. But in all seriousness, they've got to go back to their lives. So apart from listening for the next 12 months to our podcast, what bit of advice would you give people to help them now?
Okay, I would say today is the first day of the rest of your life.
Ooh.
So give your head a little wobble.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay.
I would say get a pen and paper. Write down the things that you want from your life and how you want your life to be. Yeah? And then look at how your life is.
Oh.
Let's get real. Yeah? How your life is. Are you masking what's going on? You know, how are you showing up in the world? And then don't look at it as, oh my God, this is where I am and that's where I want to be. In that moment, once you've done that, take a breath and know. Research has suggested and science has proven you can rewire your brain and you can live a better life. And why would you not want to? Not just for yourself, but for your family and for your loved ones. Because the better you are, the better you're going to be for the people around you. You can't give from an empty cup. So invest in yourself, because it's going to shape every other relationship you have in your life. Because the most important relationship you'd ever have is the one you have with yourself.
Wow, I think
Thanks.
that needs to go on a TED Talk, if I'm honest.
Do you think so?
But I need to add, because I'm a bit of the one, I'm a bit straight talking. So as you're saying that, I'm saying, yeah, do all those plans, do that. That is part of what you should do. The other thing is make a list of all the shit you hate, all the things you don't like doing, all the people that you have to hang around with that get on your tits, and make a list of all of those things and start getting rid of them. So as well as working towards your goals and thinking about what you want for life, start looking at your environment, the people that you're around. I'm such a fan of looking at the shit bits as well, because actually they're the bits that you can eliminate really quickly. You think it's hard to break up with a friend. It's not really hard to break up with a friend. Endings don't.
Thank God I've lasted.
You have lasted. No, but it's not about falling out or being mean. Sometimes it's about reflecting on those friends and how are you when you're with those people. It's not about them. So I've got people who I've been friends with for years where we've stopped being friends. We haven't fallen out. And what it is all about is that when I look back, for example, when I stopped drinking for 9 months, I tracked back in my life that every year since the age of 17, every part of my life, I've always had a friend who was a heavy drinker, really heavy drinker, and somebody who has basically allowed me to drink what I want. And actually, when you start looking at that and thinking, what is that friendship about? And what's that friendship about? Sometimes you realise those friendships are only about those things. And when you start to move through that process and no longer want to do that, and don't get me wrong, Sarah, you know that I still like a drink, but actually it's no longer soul destroying. And when you're sitting with somebody who you are being that person with them, it's never about them, it's about you. So yes, people think it's hard to change relationships, but in my experience, sometimes it's necessary.
I agree. And you know what I think to that as well? I think a lot of us have low self-esteem, low confidence, and go into a room and think, am I going to be liked? Are they going to like me? And focus externally all the time. Not always, but I think like what we should be doing is walking into a room and thinking, who do I like? Who's my person? Who do I want to be around? Stay away from them because they're a dementor, if you like Harry Potter. Are they going to drain the life?
Harry Potter ever?
Sorry, we were talking about our friendship. Shit.
Is that a make or break?
Be about to end. Judging the hell out of you right now.
So the first and last podcast from the Unknot Your Future Self podcast, because Sarah has dumped Emma.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. Well, I'm not, because now we're going to have to watch it. But anyway, that's another story. What was I saying? Yeah, we walk into a room and we always look externally and we feel like this imposter syndrome of, am I enough? I'm not good.
Yeah.
And listen, you need to evaluate how your energy feels around the people you're with. Does it feel good and does it not? What energy do I need today from people? What is it I need? And focus on that a bit more, because you're enough. You always have been. You've just got to learn what that means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. And I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because as society, if we see someone who's confident, we really want to drag that out of them, don't we? We think it's arrogant, you know what I mean? And coming from, that for years and years, I have my own self-esteem issues like everybody does. But then on the flip side of that, I'm exceptionally confident and I really do not feel inferior to anybody. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure that came from my family giving me that confidence. But there are times when, for example, years ago, when I didn't have qualifications, where I felt inferior and I felt like people were cleverer than me and everyone was more intelligent, then as I kind of did the things that I wanted to do and prove to myself that I could do education, I could do all of that kind of just went. Like, I literally don't feel that way. But when I get into different circumstances, it can pop up, can't it? And that self-esteem. But my point being is not to make me sound like an arrogant asshole. But what I'm saying is that people hate it, don't they? You're confident. So actually that makes me feel inferior and it makes me feel not confident. And that's not the effect that confident people are trying to have. But actually, isn't it more about us going, well, how do I get some of that? How do I get confidence? And the thing is that confidence, not everybody has it. It's a learnt behaviour as well. And sometimes we have to be courageous. And there's a saying, I'm going to say it now and hopefully not get tongue-tied, but courage is, you still have fear, but courage is having fears, but doing what you need to do with... No, he said, I've fucked that up.
Oh, hon, try again.
I will.
Go on, it's got time.
Okay. Fear is being so scared that you're going to pee your pants. But courage is doing what you need to do anyway with wet pants.
Hey.
Did that work?
It worked.
Good.
Well done.
But that's the thing is, isn't it? So sometimes when we're doing these things, do I feel confident sat on a microphone talking about podcasts? Semi-confident. However, the rest of it is then like, well, I'm just doing it anyway.
Yes.
I'm just going to do it anyway.
I agree. You know what? I remember school days, yeah. This was like one of the most... the amount of times I would hear this. Not about me because I wasn't confident in school. I was 5'11" and stood out, but I definitely didn't want to. And, oh my God, she loves herself. Look at her.
Yeah.
You know, if someone says to me now, oh my God, she loves herself, I go, let's celebrate it then. I'm buzzing because you don't come across those people that often.
Yeah.
Like, why is it shame? Why are we shamed into liking ourselves and loving ourselves? And it's bred into us from such a young age. Like, what is that all about? And you know what? I say, and I go, oh no, I love myself. And people look at me to see if I'm joking or wait for me to laugh. And I go, no, I love myself.
Do you not say, I love myself? Is it not sung? I mean, fuck me. You're letting me down with that there. You need
Is there
to
a song
sing that
for that
loud.
time?
I don't know. But you know, it's so right, isn't it? Because I never did love myself. And I remember my sister years ago going, I said, you love yourself, you? And she went, I know, I do. And I thought, you arrogant bastard.
Yeah.
And now I think, oh my God. And she still does love herself. And I love that. You know, don't get me wrong. She has insecurities like we all do. But that kind of like attitude and having two girls, which you know that I've got two little girls. Penny said it the other day and was like, oh, I love myself. And I thought, brilliant. I've done something right because I would have loved to have had that for myself.
Yes.
Really, I would have. But it's
God,
like beat out of here, innit?
100%. And you know what? Like, what people don't realise is, and I'm going to go way back when now, but what people don't realise is the first 5 years of our life are like the most important time for shaping how we see ourselves and the world around us, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I won't get too deep into that, but once we get to the ages of like 5 to 7, we then start to notice the world around us and how we then fit into that.
Yeah.
And it's so important that we do instill into our children from the get-go, and before that instill into ourselves so we can teach them, because you can't teach children what you don't know for yourself.
Yep.
Which is why I say the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. But it's important from the get-go. We teach about self-love, we learn about self-care, we show our families and our children and those around us that we're investing in ourselves because it's important, because it matters, because we matter. Because life can be tough, but we've got to be tougher. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just going off on one there, aren't I? I feel like I should be like...
And for anybody who needs to know what that noise out, if Mark doesn't edit it out, it's Sarah punching her hand.
Punching my hand because I'm gritting my teeth, because love yourself. Shut up.
Love yourself. Yeah, no, so I think that, like, just to summarise today's episode, really, I hope that it's helped people to kind of understand that, first of all, what we spoke about earlier is that rock bottom is different for everyone.
Yes.
Rock bottom can sometimes be being pulled out of a bed, or can be workaholic, doing what you do best, which is going and going and going. And Sarah, what I will say is that we are both still successful women and we've come through it all. And so I hope that people hear that there is a way out of it. But what we're not saying is that it's perfect. And we're not saying that just because we've done all of this work that then everything is better. Things come up, don't they? You will always have things come up.
Yeah.
And it's naive to think that you won't. Life and shit will happen, as the saying goes. And it's about knowing that and accepting that this human life is difficult, isn't it?
Yes. My supervisor, Pat, who's an absolute legend, you know, when like when life throws another curveball at you, which it continuously does, she says, oh, here we go, another AFGO. Another fucking growth opportunity.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, when life throws a curveball at you, a lot of people have a mindset of, oh, here we go again, bad things always happen to me. And actually, now you think, here we go again, here's another life experience. I'm going to feel shit for a while now, and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. I need to accept my feelings to what they are, but I'm going to come out of this better than ever. I'm going to learn so much from myself. And I hope that that's what this podcast can help people to kind of do and embrace. The good, the bad and the ugly.
I feel like what I want is, I feel like I did things backwards. So I did my therapy training, I did all of that, and it was only after I'd done that did I really get to go on this personal development journey, and all of the things started making sense and all of the problems started coming up. And I want people to kind of not have to wait or go the long way round like I did. I have read and listened to so many books, and I was thinking and reading and listening and thinking, why has no one told me about this? Why haven't I been introduced to this? Why am I just finding this out now? And I think I want to bring that to people and say, but there are stuff there that could help you right now, that will help you to help yourself. And that's what you need to be able to do, isn't it? Because guess what? Nobody's coming to save us. Nobody is coming to save you. I mean, we might try and save you a little bit. But you've got to do it. And actually, if you've got another 10, 20, 30, hopefully not 10, but if you've got another 30, 40 years on this planet, you better make that shit okay, because it's a long time to be unhappy, is it?
Yeah, man, definitely. And regardless of your age, you know what I mean? Even if you're 70, like, still do it. Like, take care of yourself, enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. Definitely. And when you said no one's going to come and save you, it made me laugh to myself, because I used to fantasize about my millionaire uncle that was going to show up one day. Still waiting for him.
That sounds a bit weird. Do you mean like show up as your uncle with inheritance, or?
Yeah, man.
Like,
it's gonna,
I don't know. My head went somewhere else then.
No. Of course your head goes somewhere
And
else.
have you got an uncle who's a millionaire?
Oh, no, I haven't met him yet.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted one.
Yeah.
I just we grew up skint.
Well, I'd just be fucking grateful for some grandparents. I never had any. No, I did. I had an adopted. I would like yours, because yours are amazing, aren't they?
They just like take on anyone and everyone, and just love them.
Will they take me on?
Listen, absolutely.
Yeah.
They've just got so much love to give.
So I'm going to get them as my grandparents.
Jean and Ken. Big up Jean and Ken. Nanny Jean's dancing queen.
And I did have my Nan Rose, but by the time Nan Rose was my stepdad's mum, but by the time I met her, I was quite a lot older by then. So when I say I didn't have grandparents, I didn't. So I just don't want to be, disrespecting the memory of somebody who was a grandma figure. But yes, I would like to have your grandparents as well. So I want to kind of should we start closing today and kind of talk about the takeaways? So what we're talking about is empowerment, really, self-empowerment. I am definitely with some of the listeners when they're probably kind of vomiting at the thought of self-love. Don't worry, by episode 12 you may feel differently about this, but I get it, because that was never a thing to me. It just didn't make any sense. I was just like, this is just disgusting. Why would you say that and do that? But now I kind of feel differently about it, but I look at it in a different way, I guess. But we're talking about people starting to take control of their own lives and starting to feel empowered in different ways. That isn't just down the therapeutic route, it isn't just down the medical model.
Let's slowly and safely take off our masks and reveal our true selves in a way where we can learn who we are, why we are, what we want from life, how we want our life to be, and just live it, flaws and all.
And sometimes, Sarah, we can't take those masks off when we stay in the environments that we're in.
Yes.
And sometimes a lot of the family work that I do as a family therapist is, those environments remain the same. We can't change those other people. So sometimes that peeling of that mask means that we have to look at those environments, doesn't it?
It sure does. Which is why, again, we need to make sure we post about Maslow's hierarchy of needs for those that don't, because that talks about environments and safety and love and nurturing, doesn't it? But ultimately, we grow up from a young age with a dysregulated nervous system. We never feel safe and secure in our bodies.
This is the science part. I love a bit of science.
Me too. I feel like I should be sitting here in a white jacket with a Bunsen burner and a thermometer.
With your millionaire uncle coming to your rescue.
Because he's just paid for the whole lab and the research and stuff.
And there's a horse outside and some lashes and some eyebrows.
Oh dear.
I want that uncle as well.
He's great, honestly. I might write a story about him.
Let us know if you've got one of those uncles that we could borrow. Anyway, so shall we? Do you think it's a good time for us to end today?
Yeah, I think we should. I think because we've got the tendency to, I'll speak for myself, to waffle and keep going.
And I think my last, you can give a last message as well. I'm a bit like, sometimes I think I'm like a proper controller, aren't I?
I like
it. But what I would say is that, we are not replacements for professional help, and we haven't got an open inbox all of the time. But if there are things that you think will help you and you want to get in touch with us over the podcast, then please do. We'd be happy to hear from you. But in between now and our next podcast, take care, take a look at what's out there, and kind of, start to get comfortable in your own skin.
Agree. I can't say nothing more on that. I just think that was great. I completely agree.
Good. I like a bit of agreement.
Like a nodding dog.
Oh no, that's a seal. The end.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you've been affected by any of the topics that we've discussed today, please don't suffer alone. Speak to someone you trust, open up to friends and family, speak to your GP. There are places that can support you in your local area. Emma and I have also created some downloadable documents in relation to the topics we've discussed today. So please click the link and have a look. And don't forget to join us for our next episode, where we discuss fun, laughter, not taking ourselves too seriously, and building a relationship with our insecurities. Take care and see you soon. Bye now.